You are nothing to me anymore. Never step foot in this house again. Those were the harsh words my father shouted at me, words that would change my life forever. Supported by John, my soon-to-be husband, I left my family home in tears. It was right after I graduated from high school. My name is Amy, and I'm a 36-year-old farmer. This year marks 18 years since I left my family home. From now on, the time I spend living my own chosen life will be longer than the time I spent in that home, and this thought makes me quite sentimental. My family home was in the city. My father was a corporate worker, and my mother was a stay-at-home mom. We were a family of 4, my brother and me. He was born a year before me. My parents ranked their children clearly. My brother was the heir and always given priority. The quality of our meals and the grandeur of our birthday presents were always superior for him. He boasted about his superiority and always believed he was better than me. There were times when I felt lonely. There were times I cried out, "I want attention too." But my parents never changed, so I gave up completely. The event that changed my life happened during the summer of my second year in high school. My brother was preparing for college entrance exams, aiming for a top-tier university. But his mock exam results were terrible. He was always on edge, taking out his frustration on me at every opportunity. My parents treated him like a fragile object, giving him the utmost care. Meanwhile, they piled household chores on me, so I had no time to study, even though I was performing better academically. To soothe my brother's mood, they even tried to lower my grades. It made no sense. During this time, I heard about a rural experience program from one of my teachers. Students could participate in a 2-night, 3-day stay on a host farm, harvesting vegetables, cooking together, and experiencing country life. I, troubled by my family environment, decided to participate bravely. But my father objected, saying, "Agriculture is something only fools who can't get corporate jobs do for a living." My mother scoffed, "Are you crazy? Willingly getting dirty and stinky in the mud." Still, I defied my parents and used my saved pocket money to sign up. This was the first time I ever refused to obey my parents. It turned out to be the best decision I ever made. For someone starving for familial love, it was a wonderful experience. Working in the fresh rural air was invigorating. I felt warmth and kindness from a family, especially from John, the eldest son, who was a year older than me and the same age as my brother. At first, I was wary. He was an older guy, after all. But John was completely different from my brother. He was kind yet firm, got along well with his parents, and was gentle with me. John's parents were truly warm and gentle. Even though my stay was just 3 days, I cried when I had to leave the farm. John's mom cried with me, saying, "You're welcome back anytime." I promised I would definitely return. They didn't use cell phones much, so I started writing letters regularly. Soon, I received replies from John, and our correspondence became like an exchange diary. We started dating, a pure long-distance relationship without even a kiss. After my brother failed to get into his first-choice university and ended up in a third-rate private college, I became a college applicant myself. But my parents pressured me to get a job instead. They said women didn't need education. The real reason? They didn't want me to attend a better college than my brother. Since the rural experience, I had dreamed of becoming a farmer. I could do that without college, but John was a college student who had moved to the city, and I wanted to aim for a new kind of farming. With a clear goal, I studied hard every day, despite interference from my parents and brother. When I passed the university entrance exam, my father was furious. "Are you a woman planning to go to a better university than your brother?" he shouted. My mother added, "We don't have money to spend on you. Your brother needs it, so you should work and bring money home." I was desolate after hearing this. After a huge fight, I cut off all ties with my family. John came to pick me up, and his parents, now my in-laws, supported my college expenses. I ended up attending college. 4 years later, I married John. During my college years, I never contacted my family. But then my in-laws said, "We have to at least give them a heads up about the marriage," my husband said. So, after 4 long years, we visited my childhood home for the first time. Right after graduation, Everything was chaotic and it was planting season, so we couldn't make the visit until the beginning of summer. My in-laws, my husband, and I all had sunburned, darkened faces from working outside. But my parents and brother openly ridiculed us. My mother asked, "No offense, but how old are you exactly? You must be quite poor to be working until you're all dark like this." I was mortified. "Please stop, Mom," I implored in a small voice, but she ignored me. My brother smirked and said, "Smart people like me make money with intellectual work. If you can only do primitive work, it proves you're unintelligent." I turned pale, and the gentle smiles on my in-laws' faces froze. My husband firmly declared, "With all due respect, we are proud to be farmers." My father laughed condescendingly and said to me, "Just to make it clear, you're a stranger to us from now on. You're marrying a poor farmer who has to sweat and work hard. We're going to treat you as if you don't exist. It'll be a problem if you come asking us for money. We don't want to see you anymore." Already disowned at 18, I knew very well that I was on my own, even without being told so explicitly again. Still, I had tried to maintain some semblance of courtesy. The sympathetic looks from my in-laws and John were difficult to bear. On the way home, I quietly wept and resolved to forget about my biological family. Time flew by, and before I knew it, 18 years had passed. The emotional wounds had thoroughly healed. I had given birth to 2 children, and my days were busy but fulfilling. Although I had virtually erased the memories of my parents and brother, I was informed by a cousin that my brother was getting married. My cousin and I have always been close and occasionally kept in touch even after my marriage. At some point, I had sent them rice harvested from our farm. They were pleased with the taste and even became regular purchasers. We maintained a friendly relationship and enjoyed chatting on the phone about once a month. "We can meet after a long time at the wedding," my cousin said. But I hadn't heard anything about the marriage from my parents or my brother. "Well, since we're estranged, it's true that there's no way for me to know," I said. "I heard they were building a new duplex. I wondered if it was completed." Apparently, both my parents and my brother and his wife planned to move after the wedding. My cousin knew about the estrangement between my parents and me, but seemed to think that I would attend weddings and funerals. After finishing the phone call with my cousin, I impulsively dialed my mother's cell phone number. However, I was met with an automated message saying, "This number is no longer in use." I tried calling my father next. Again, the same automated message. Had they changed their cell phone numbers? I didn't know my brother's number, so I couldn't call him directly. With trembling fingers, I dialed the landline for my family home, and it connected. My heart pounding, I waited for someone to pick up. "Hello?" It was my brother who answered. "Brother, it's Amy. I heard you're getting married and moving." I hesitated, about to offer congratulations. But I was cut off by my brother. "There's no need for you to do anything. You're a farmer, a stranger to me. Don't call me," my brother yelled before hanging up the phone. I rushed to call him back, only to find that I was already blocked. It was harsh. No matter how much he hated me, we were still family. It hurt to be rejected like this. Seeing my distress, my husband grew concerned and gently asked, "What's wrong? Did something happen?" I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. When I told him about the conversation, both my husband and my in-laws were as furious as if it had happened to them. "Your home is here, Amy. Your family is us," my mother-in-law reassured me. Her words moved me to tears. I wish she was my real mom. She cared about me so much more than my blood-related mother ever did. My father-in-law also comforted me, saying, "You're happy now, that's all that matters. No need to get hurt. The one who laughs last is the winner." My husband added gently, "Let's take them as a bad example and make sure we don't turn out like that, even for our children's sake." Even our children, unaware of all the pain behind the scenes, hugged me tightly. "Thank you, everyone," I whispered, feeling a warm glow in my heart. I realized how happy I was now. Even though I wasn't blessed with a supportive biological family, I had found true family in my husband and in-laws. However, Things took a drastic turn when my business was featured on national television. My in-laws were originally large-scale grain farmers in the American Midwest. They also grew a wide variety of vegetables and fruits, but a lot of produce didn't meet market standards. I had studied food business in college and spent countless hours figuring out how to sell all the produce without waste. I started an online business selling jams, juices, and pickles made from slightly damaged fruits and vegetables that couldn't be sold fresh. Backed by the local farmers union, my business was a huge success. It became a hit with moms who wanted to feed their children safe, domestically produced food, and seniors longing for nostalgic homemade pickles. I built the company with young women who, like me, had married into farming families, along with unemployed youth. Over time, it grew into a $5 million business. Our success story was covered in an in-depth TV report. After the broadcast, we received massive attention and calls from all kinds of people. Besides orders and inquiries, there were calls for business transactions and interview requests. Both the company phone and my personal smartphone wouldn't stop ringing. So when a call came in from an unknown number, I answered without hesitation. Surprisingly, it was my brother. I supposed he had seen the national television segment too. He must have heard about my success. Barely exchanging greetings, he said, "I'm thinking of starting a business. Can you lend me some money?" "Excuse me?" I replied, incredulous. My answer was a firm no. I felt stronger than ever and coldly rejected his request before hanging up. But he called again. "Stop arguing and give me the money. If a woman like you can start a business and make money, I'm bound to be successful," my brother yelled incessantly. That's not how someone who wants to borrow money should behave, I thought. Where did he get that confidence? It was ironic, considering it was the same brother who had called me a stranger and a farmer he didn't want anything to do with. I didn't respond to his rants, but instead asked something I'd wondered for a long time. "Hey, who decided not to tell me about the move?" "Huh? Of course it was me, my wife. You know, she's a city girl. The moment I mentioned you, she said we should cut ties." So that was how it was. I didn't want to hear any more. I hung up and blocked his number. I realized his wife, whom I had never met, seemed to have the same character as my brother and my parents. The fact that my brother saw me on TV probably meant my parents saw it too. A few hours later, when I thought I was receiving another call from an unknown number, it turned out to be my father. "Why are you the boss? Did you steal a man's job?" he demanded angrily. I answered calmly, "Well, both John and my father-in-law are involved in the farming business, so it's only natural. In reality, it's called large-scale consolidation, and it's become advantageous to incorporate if you're a somewhat large farm. My father-in-law is the president of the local agricultural association, and John has incorporated his in-law share and is the president of that corporation." Maybe my explanation convinced my father, because then he asked, "You're distant. Why didn't you contact us?" I was dumbfounded inside, but responded firmly, "It was you who disowned me. I'm hanging up now." I hung up and immediately blocked his number. A few minutes later, my mother called. "Why aren't you giving your brother money? You make $500 million a year, don't you? Send money home. We're your real family. Have you forgotten all the favors we did raising you? At least give us $300 million, or at least $250 million. My mother was the most aggressive of all. Even though my business made $500 million in total revenue, after expenses and employee salaries, I barely had anything left over. I exaggerated slightly to make a point, but my mother instantly retorted, "You're lying. There's no way that's true." I was irritated by her persistent demands, but I wondered if she was too embarrassed to admit the truth. "I'm not sending money, whether I have it or not. We're strangers," I said firmly, then hung up and blocked her number. Of course, I thought that would be the end, but I was wrong. My parents, brother, and my brother's wife, whom I had never met, showed up uninvited at my in-laws' house. My father said with a forced smile, "Hey, Amy, want to hear the surprise? I'm revoking the disownment." I was stunned at their desperation for money. My mother-in-law asked, "What on earth is going on with you people?" Even my father-in-law and mother-in-law glared silently at my parents, clearly uncomfortable. Employees gathered nearby looked at my parents with stunned faces. My brother seemed to know he was not welcome either. "The real blood connector family is us," my brother declared. "We have the right to get the money you earn, too." The woman who seemed to be my brother's wife nodded in agreement. I was furious. "I don't think so. Even though we share blood, there was no emotional connection. You treated me like a stranger and abandoned me." The emotional scars from my biological family's rejection were revived, and I was on the verge of tears again. At that moment, John came and stood next to me. "Amy is now part of our family," he said firmly. "Even without you disowning her, we are perfectly happy. Please go home." He defended me with quiet strength. The employees also spoke up in unison. "Were you thinking how rude? There are many people on Amy's side here." For the first time, I truly felt where I belonged. My brother's anger erupted. Shut up, you country bumpkins. You're all low-educated trash. Obey what we say." Then John replied calmly, "Well, both I and my father are Ivy League graduates, and Amy graduated from a well-known university for agriculture." Casually revealing our educational backgrounds caught my brother off guard. "What? Despite graduating from top universities, why are you farming?" my brother yelled in surprise. For him, who graduated from a low-ranking university, the title of university graduate was his only pride, and he hadn't expected to lose that status. With a cool face, John answered, "Farming is a respectable profession. We can fully utilize what we studied in college." I couldn't help but laugh through the tension. "Brother, you've lost. To John and everything," I managed to say, feeling relieved. Maybe I was too afraid of my brother and parents before. Now, I wanted to say this clearly one last time. We are already strangers. Then I deliberately changed my tone to polite but firm. "So I can't lend or give money to strangers. Please leave. If you make a fuss or act violently, I will call the police and take legal action." My in-laws and husband moved closer to protect me from any harm. I was deeply moved, feeling truly cherished. The employees shouted at my parents, "Out of here. Go home." My parents, brother, and sister-in-law glared at us with resentment, but said nothing more and retreated. Later, I heard from my cousin that my brother and parents had tried to get rich quick by starting a business with debts instead of borrowing from me. But their arrogant characters led to a big failure, and now they were on the verge of bankruptcy. I am a stranger to them now and have no intention of getting involved anymore. As for me, my work is going well, and I am surrounded by a true family, respectable in-laws, a loving husband, and adorable children. Despite everything I endured, I have found a place where I truly belong. Surrounded by love and respect, I will cherish each day while savoring the happiness of life. Please feel free to comment below if you like this. Remember to like and subscribe for more.